Drop Zone Distilling. My name is Rod Parton. I'm a fourth generation moonshiner. I'm also the CEO and founder of Drop Zone. Drop Zone was founded in 2021. I spent 8 years in the military with the 82nd Airborne Division as a paratrooper. That's where the phrase drop zone came from. We basically decided that everything in the military has to wind up on a drop zone, so you might as well wind up on the drop zone when you come here. I'm a fourth generation moonshiner, like I said. Started learning the craft when I was about 9-10 years old. By 14, I was running my own still. The reason that we brought the concept of, with all the commercialized moonshine distilleries and that are around the area, we wanted to bring back the authenticity of it. So what we do here is everything is basically, like I say, it's slow batch made in a fast-paced world. We want you to be able to taste and enjoy the true flavor of what it is, and not a chemical processed alcohol that's basically made in a plant somewhere and then shipped in and redistilled, and they add essence of corn to it and then they just call it corn liquor. When you come to our distillery is small. It's going to be co-run with my son. He is also in law enforcement. I spent 28 years in law enforcement. So when you come in and tour our facility, you'll actually see everything being made in small batches. You'll see the grains on pallets. There are no artificial neutral grain spirits anywhere on our premises. We make everything here by hand. Tasting room. This is our tasting room merchandise area. When you come in here, you'll see all the products that we have on display. Being a fourth generation moonshiner, we start out with the legacy, which dates back to my great grandfather. That's actually his recipe. Then we go to the rye moonshine, which is what you see right here. That is my grandfather's recipe. When he came home from World War II, he started looking for a different flavor, so he started experimenting with rye. We not only do just moonshine here, we actually do vodka, which you'll see to my left there as well. We're also doing rum, and we're doing whiskey. And then the winter, probably the January of 2023, we're going to start barreling our bourbons and whiskeys. Okay, so now we're back in the production area where I was describing before. We do everything in small batch quantities. What you see right here and what you see behind me, these are mashes that are in their fermentation stage. When they get to the active point, like just right before they get ready to be distilled, you can actually stand right here and hear them working. They actually sound like a small brook just kind of bubbling, and something very relaxing. You just kind of sit here and waste the rest of the day listening to it. Still in our production facility right here. This is our still. It's a 300-gallon still. Runs on steam. We produce steam through a boiler that's here. We have a 300-gallon pot. Normally, we don't fill it to 300 gallons. We normally average between 220 and 240. That keeps us back in the small batch stage to where we keep true to our flavors. That way, you're not in the mass producing. We're more about trying to be more about quality than quantity here. To my left right here, you'll see we got 4 columns. 3 of the columns with the plates on them, there's a total of 21. So when we make our vodkas are distilled 21 times to get the best flavor out of it. Normally, normally when we do our whiskeys and our moonshines, we just run through the first column, which is just the first 4 windows that you see. Everything travels across down to the end and comes out to the parrot down there, which runs into the holding tank. That's my employee Ross down there, Ross Miller. He's my master distiller. He's been with me for about 2 years now, and he and I work pretty good on coming up with different recipes, working on our whiskeys and our bourbons, like I said, that we're going to launch in January. So basically, Ross's job right now is, as the still runs, he just sits there and monitors the hygrometer and the quality of everything that's coming out, watching the proofing as it's going into the holding tank. Now we're back in our proofing room where we do our proofing, our bottling, and our labeling. This is the last stop before everything goes to the merchandise area and goes onto the shelves, or it's distributed out to our distributor. We use a gravity-fed filling station. We can fill 4 bottles at a time there. I have 2 part-time helpers, and so we'll actually do like an assembly line here. So we'll have one person running the filling station, marking the bottles. Each bottle is marked with a batch. That way, if there's ever an issue with a batch or a quantity, and we have to do a recall, then we know exactly which bottles need to be recalled. We come over to the labeling process. We have a labeler right here that puts the labels on for us. We just roll them on, put the boxes back in, then they're shrink banded and repackaged, and then we take them up front and put them out for merchandise, or the distributor comes and picks them up for distribution.